just your reaction. Where were you when you heard the news?
I was sitting in the living room reading a book. I got a message from a former teacher that said there's white smoke. So I went down to put the TV on to watch it, and then I saw it, and I called my niece to say, hey, she said she's watching it also, so we were watching it and wondering at what point would the curtains open. So maybe 45 minutes later, she said, look, the curtains are moving, and sure enough, they moved, and they opened, and out came the bishop from France, and he gave and we heard our name called, and she screamed, and I sort of, oh my gosh, this is for real. Is this happening? And then we just sort of listened to what he had to say. And she said, I'm going to call work. I'm not going in today. And I said, well, whatever it takes. And then we just listened and watched the people in the crowd and listened to his speeches. Because he didn't say a whole lot in English. He used Spanish and Italian. So we didn't get a whole lot, but there were some subtitles. And then off went my phone, off went the cell phone, off went the iPad. Everything went off at the same time. And so trying to respond to all that, plus this, then the door went, and it's been nonstop since that time.
Go back for a moment, though. You hear the name, and you do say, think, feel what?
Shock, disbelief, a whole lot of pride, a whole lot of, is this for real? Now what are we going to do? That kind of stuff, because this is an awesome responsibility that we have to live up to, that he has to live up to. People are going to be watching him from now on, closer than ever, and maybe us too, the family.
So tell me, what is it about your brother that you know will make him an awesome pope?
I think the very fact that in his heart, in his very soul, he wanted to be a missionary. He didn't want the bishop, he didn't want the cardinal, but that's what he's asked to do, so that's what he did. He would have liked to go back to Peru and work with the missions because he had a deep feeling for the disenfranchised, for the poor, for those who were not listened to. And he had a very strong feeling, and I think in that way he will be a second Pope Francis. I think he'll follow right in his footsteps, working for the underprivileged.
And I was going to ask you that. What kind of pope do you think he will be?
I think you'll see a second Pope Francis, I think. And then he'll take some things on himself. He's young to be a pope, I think. And he's active, so he will be here and there and moving around. And I think he will also speak his mind.
And tell me about your younger brother as your younger brother. Tell me those stories when you were growing up.
There aren't a whole lot because he left home after 8th grade graduation and went right away into the Augustinian Seminary in Holland, Michigan. So he wasn't home much after that. You know, summer vacations, Christmas vacations from high school and college, and then he was with the order. So there really weren't a whole lot as growing up. As we became older, then yeah, when he would come up for leaves and stuff like that, more so than as kids.
Was it your brother? I overheard somebody say you knew it when he was young. Somebody said, tell me that story.
That we knew when he was young?
Yeah. Who said that? Under what circumstances? Tell me the story.
Well, you know how some kids like to play war and be soldiers, and some girls want to play dolls and be housewives. He wanted to play priest. And so he took our mom's ironing board and put a tablecloth over it, and we had to go to Mass. And we went to Mass, and he knew everything. He knew his prayers in Latin, he knew his prayers in English, and he did that all the time. And he took it totally serious. It was not a joke. It was not a game. He was dead serious about it. Isn't that interesting? Now, that's how you know. And the other thing, how we knew, when he was in first grade or kindergarten, one of the moms across the street and one down the street said to him, you're going to be the first American Pope. In first grade. They knew that.
First grade? Did you see it too?
The Pope? No. Priest, yeah. But who would think at 6 years old you're going to be the first American Pope? But he just had that spirit around him that was interested in other people and interested in the neighbors and stuff like that. So what would make a woman say that? You know, what did he do? Because I couldn't tell you. They didn't say that about me.
Tell me about that pride you're feeling.
It's hard to put into words. I mean, how can one be more proud of someone who is not only the Pope, but the first American Pope, the first Pope from Chicago, and my brother?
And I was going to ask you that, the significance of being the first American Pope.
It's awesome, but I think it's going to carry a great responsibility. I think he will be scrutinized left and right, up and down, because he is the first American Pope. You know, we're used to an Italian Pope, or in Pope Francis' case, an Argentine Pope. But here's the American Pope. What's he going to do for me? You know, which is why I thought there would never be an American Pope, because the United States is too powerful already. Would they want to bring the church into it? But the Holy Spirit moves somebody.
And so what is it about your brother that you know will allow him to handle that? Because what you're saying, it sounds like it's going to be a lot. But
I think it will be a lot, but he has the patience of, quote-unquote, a saint. He can handle it. He can take it. He can stop and think before he gives an answer. See, I'm answering you immediately. He would think a minute and then give an answer. I blurt it out. Right, wrong, or indifferent. That's what comes to me. He will think it out and will be very careful about what he says and what's the best response for the church today and for the people of the church, and to try to bring them all into one, which is probably an impossible task.
in those controversial topics, the war, immigration, gay rights, and on and on and on, how will he, do you think, handle that, weigh in on that?
He will weigh in on it. I think he is, I don't want to speak for him, but I think he sees the United States is headed in the wrong direction in terms of immigration. That this is a total injustice. These are people. Doesn't matter where they're born, they are people first. And so they need to be treated as people first. The war, it's got to be, I don't know how he would handle that. It's a very difficult situation, because you're going to offend someone one way or the other, no matter what. Gay marriage, did you say? I think he will follow what the church has traditionally said about that, I think.
And one last question. Just describe for me your childhood growing up. You grew up in Dalton. Just describe for me a little bit about your childhood.
I think we were just regular kids. You know, you get up in the morning, someone's knocking on your door to come out and play, and you go out and play. You pick up a game of baseball, or next door had a pool, so we would go back and go swimming for a while. As we got older, we'd take the train and go downtown, and that kind of activities. You know, just what regular kids did with the neighbors.
And what did he particularly like to do? You said he liked to play priest, but anything else? What, any of the games that he played?
I think he would do whatever the majority. He's never want to say, no, I don't want to do that. If people wanted to do it, he would go along with it. As he got into the high school age, his favorite recreation was driving. He just loved to get behind the wheel.
All right, well, he will be driving very much.
Well,
now.
see, that's what I said to somebody. I said, I think he's Pope, and he'll say, I want to drive. Interesting to see, right?
Let's look at the pictures first. This one, hold that one up and tell me so I'll know the significance of
this. Is his picture taken after his ordination. Yeah. The ordination took place in Rome, and these two, this is my brother, this is Bob Dodaro. They were both ordained in Rome on this day, and that was the picture they took. Okay. And this is when he was first made cardinal.
Oh.
Okay. And this is the older brother. This one is me, and this one is the now Pope. And this was taken, what would be 2023.
2023. All right. And what year would this one have been then, maybe?
Yeah, I know this is ordination. It's going to be 80-something.
Okay. All right. And this one is how? What are the ages here? And
okay, this is the three of us. Okay. Oh, I explained that.
But go ahead.
Okay, that's the Pope, me, and the older one, Louis. And this has to be, he's a year younger than me, so I would put this, 2, 3, and 6, I'm guessing.
Okay. Cubs or Sox?
See, they had it wrong. He's Sox, and then the radio announced Cubs, and that's not true.
Nah, well, how long and has he been a Sox fan? Tell me about that.
I would, as long as I've known him.
Really?
All along.
Did you guys go to the games? Or?
Yeah. Yes, we did. Because really, from Dalton to Sox Park wasn't that big of a deal. And of course, we were both altar boys, so that was one of the rewards that we got, was to go to a Sox game.